Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. It's Deborah Poneman, and welcome to this very special session on eliminating beliefs that are holding you back from having a life that really works for you. And a special welcome to my current Awake program participants. And today, the person who is going to help us eliminate beliefs is the one and only Shelly Lefkoe, who is the co-founder of the Lefkoe Institute. And there she is. She magically appeared. Hi, gorgeous. And look at those flowers.
I got them
I
this morning.
Oh my goodness. Well, now I feel, well, I have to admit to everybody that this is not a real background. People say to me, "Oh, where did you get that picture?" And I say, this is not a real background." And the reason is that I'm at the Optimum Health Institute in Lemon Grove, California. And if you saw what the rooms look like, you'd put on a fake background too. So anyway, I am personally very, very excited about what's going to unfold today because I have used Shelley's process in my own life with truly amazing results. And I want everyone to have that experience. People are always talking about wanting to get rid of the beliefs that hold them back. And so many teachers and practitioners, they work with beliefs, but not only has Shelley's work benefited over 150,000 people worldwide, and that's not counting the television audiences and the audiences that have watched the movie Transcendence that you were in. And I don't know if it includes the audiences that you've spoken in front of, but her understanding of how beliefs are formed and how to get rid of them makes so much sense. And like I say, it works on a very profound level. And Shelley's going to take us through the whole group through her process. So by the end of the call, and it'll be around 90 minutes with Q&A at the end, you will be able to eliminate a belief. So again, welcome. Thank you so much for being here on a Saturday morning.
Thank you all. I never take it for granted that people give me their time. And Deborah, of
Oh,
course, amazing.
that is so sweet. And yes, and on a Saturday, on a beautiful fall day, I am just thrilled that all of you took the time to be here. And I am looking forward to sharing with you my own experience. But I think what I'm going to do first is I'm going to read Shelley's formal bio. So here we go. Shelly Lefkoe. Oh, hold on. I have to. There we go. Shelly Lefkoe is the co-founder of the Lefkoe Institute, a San Francisco-based firm whose mission is to improve the quality of life on the planet by having people recreate their lives and live as the unlimited possibilities they are. Shelly has helped clients in every corner of the world rid themselves of um, um hold on, hold on, everybody. My my computer is really being funny today. It's really being naughty. Computer, stop being naughty and making Shelley's bio disappear. Well, I might have to fill in the blanks. Shelley has helped clients in every corner of the world rid themselves of emotional something that have held them back in life in many ways. I mean, including fear, debilitating shyness, anxiety, depression, worry, worrying about the way other people think about them. I don't know, negative views of themselves in all ways. And I've seen this also. I'm making this up because part of your bio disappeared. And phobias like fear of public speaking. Actually, you did that for our friend Janet Atwood,
Janet,
founder of
that
the
was.
Passion. So that was spectacular. And also untenable relationships, domestic violence, inability to speak up for oneself, health issues, even sexual dysfunction. And as I say, her programs have reached over 150,000 people. And she has been featured on Lisa and the Today Show. She's been a speaker at Mind Valley's A Fest, at Mark Hyman's The Doctor's Pharmacy, Jim Quick's #1 educational podcast, Broken Brain. She was featured in the award-winning movie Transcendence. And today she is, I know, stop. Okay, she is going to share with us what really is a belief, how do beliefs get formed, how most people try to change their beliefs and why it doesn't work the way most people are doing it, how to eliminate beliefs like I'm not enough or it's dangerous to speak up and so much more. And more, and also she is going to, most importantly, take us through the process of helping us eliminate a belief. So I know we're going to be doing this in an interview format, but before I ask you the first question, is it all right if I share my experience?
Yes, but I just want to say to the person who's here from at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm touched and blown away. And to the person who saw me at the Feel Good Summit in person, hi, that's so exciting. I love that.
Yes, Shelly has spoken at so many summits and she has spoken all over the world. Most
No one
recently, I think it
cares.
was Vietnam
And Russia.
and Russia. And you're going to be speaking in New Mexico in January and so many other places. Um, So my community knows by now that I only invite people as guests who I believe 100% in their work. And I have to have experience results myself, or I just don't feel right about sharing it with my community. So here's my experience with Shelly. I had heard Shelly speak several times about getting rid of beliefs at various events. And of course, I thought she was great. She was a great speaker. She was funny. What she said made sense, but I had never been taken through the work. And then when Marcy Scheimoff and I were leading your Year of Miracles together, some of you don't know, we led it together for the first 5 years. We invited Shelly to be a guest. Marcy had always raved about Shelly's work. So we interviewed Shelly for your Year of Miracles, and she took us through her process. And I noticed shifts in my life just from what I experienced in that Year of Miracles interview. Well, long story short, we became friends. And one long weekend, we went on a trip together to spend 3 days with our friends in Palm Springs. And we're on the flight home to San Francisco. And I'm sharing with Shelly how much my life looked differently based on what I learned from her in the short process we went through in your Year of Miracles. And I told her about a perennial belief I had that I don't think that I'm smart. And I have other good qualities, but I marveled at, really intellectual people, people who have those brains, and I didn't consider myself one of them. So she volunteered to help me get rid of the belief that I am not smart. We determined my belief had formed in childhood and it had been running my life for over 60 years at the time. And in one short plane ride, we're talking just from Palm Springs to San Francisco, she took me through her method and that belief vanished. Like it's gone. And I keep saying, how does it work? It just works. So I thank you, Shelly. And with that, I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to ask you the first question. What is a belief? And what is a belief as opposed to a pattern?
Yeah. So before we start, I just want to say, Nadine, you have no idea. So Nadine said, "Oh, Deborah, you are so smart." She is one of the smartest people I know. So that's a great introduction into this because that's so, I just got that. That was so good. So a belief is a statement about reality that we hold as the truth. That's what a belief is, okay? No amount of evidence, obviously, Deborah has a bio, like mine. I don't know what that is. Something just popped up about a language. And so a belief is a statement about reality that you hold as the truth. And I have worked with Harvard PhDs who had the belief, I'm stupid. I'm not smart, I'm stupid. And they knew they weren't, but they still believed it on a deep level, right? So that's what a belief is.
Yes. So what is a pattern?
Good question. So Most people, when they talk about beliefs, and I read things that people talk about all the time, and it makes me crazy, because if you try to eliminate a pattern, you're going to go down a very unproductive rabbit hole. So a pattern is observable, okay? It's either behavioral, emotional, or a reality pattern. So a behavioral pattern is I procrastinate. I can see you procrastinate. I don't speak up for myself. I can see you not speak up for yourself. I have an eating disorder, or, those are behavioral patterns. It's something you do over and over again that you want to stop. An emotional pattern is I feel anxious all the time. I'm depressed. Um, I feel like something's going to go wrong all the time. So emotional patterns have to do with, obviously, emotions. A reality pattern is I do all the right things and nothing ever turns out. That's how this process actually got created, because that was my husband's pattern. He did everything you could possibly want to do to make something happen. It would look like it was going to happen, and then it wouldn't. And he was on a plane going to California, and he started just looking at, he was on a spiritual, intellectual journey to discover why we know what to do and don't do it. We know if we eat healthily and exercise, we'll live longer, but we don't, and better, but we don't. And why do we do things we know we shouldn't do? So, for instance, how many of us marry somebody knowing I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't do this, this is not a good relationship? We go, I'm taking a job, I see all these red flags, the boss is yelling at people, people are working 12-hour weeks, and yet we take the job. What would cause that? We know seatbelts save lives and people don't wear them. So we know what to do and don't do it. We know what not to do and we do it. And he was trying to figure out why that was. And he kind of downloaded this process. And by the end of the trip, he was going to be interviewed to get the state of California was looking for people to motivate unemployed people to get them back on the rolls. And he did the process with the people who were going to interview him, and they all eliminated a belief, and they hired him on the spot, and they had 5 other candidates they were going to see. And the state of California gave $1 million grant to get these people back on the payrolls and off unemployment. And so that was the first time we ever did this in companies, which is how we started. And then one day he said, we have to work with individuals. I mean, this is too good. So a pattern. So a pattern, beliefs underlie the pattern. So any pattern that you're suffering with, and we're going to write it down in a little bit, anything that you want to change, whether it's procrastination, being, what's the word, hiding, not putting yourself out there, playing small, screaming at your kids, whatever it is, it's caused by beliefs.
Okay, here's an example in my own life. So, because I had the belief that I'm really not smart, I would be in a group of people that I thought were all really smart. So I would not give my opinion. I would not speak up. I would not say what I think. And because my belief is I'm not smart, so my pattern is to hide when I'm with a bunch of people who I think are really intellectually brilliant.
Yeah, brilliant. Brilliant.
All
And
right.
you'll notice that voice in your head that talks to you all the time, that's coming from your beliefs.
Wow.
They're smarter
Okay.
than
What you
me.
do
They
is
know more than me.
you eliminate the belief and then the pattern disappears, which of
Exactly.
course, as you know, is what happened in my life. I
Yeah.
speak up, I don't even care. But
Yeah.
it's the truth. It's like that because that belief is gone. I speak up, and even if people even if it's not the smartest thing in the room, the belief is gone, so that the pattern is gone, and so my life is better. Anyway, can you do an exercise with us on how beliefs are formed?
Yes, so this is very important, you guys, because this is gonna kind of coach you into how we're gonna do the process.
Okay.
And I promise you, this is not gonna be something you're just gonna listen to and walk away going, wow, that was so good, that was so interesting. This is gonna be something where something's gonna happen in your life if you play with me. So this is how beliefs get formed. We come into this world, we don't know if we're good enough or not good enough. We don't know if life is hard or easy. We don't know if the world is a safe place or not. We don't know if mistakes and failures are bad, or they're or even what a mistake or failure is. There's no such distinction. And what happens is every child alive wants three things. For those of you who have kids, you know, kids want affection, attention, and acknowledgement, okay? And the one word question that every child asks alive, that is alive asks, is why. So I want you all to close your eyes for a minute, and I want you to imagine that you are 5 years old and you run into the room and you go, mommy, mommy, look what I did. I drew this picture of you. And she looks at the picture and she goes, that doesn't look like me. Or you go, next day, you're playing soccer and you're 5 years old and you go, mommy, mommy, I got a goal. Daddy, I got a goal. And daddy says, yeah, but if you concentrated the way you were playing when you got that goal, you would have gotten more goals. And then you come home and you're having dinner and you spill your milk. And your dad looks at you and goes, oh, God, can't you watch what you're doing? You're so sloppy. I want everybody to write in the chat. And what might you conclude at some point if that continues to happen? So yeah, good. I'm going to ask you guys to really participate and it'll make it really interesting. So every single person said, I'm not good enough. Everybody. Okay, there's something wrong with me. No matter. Perfect. So here's the deal. If you are talking to your mom and she says, I'm listening. Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm listening. Or she's working all the time and she's never home. Or dad's working all the time and never home. What do you think you're likely to conclude? Exactly. Oh, these guys are great, Deborah. I can't do anything right. Sorry, I'm not important, right? So I'm not good enough. I'm not important. And there is not a perfect parent alive, which is why I created a parenting course, because I want parents to become conscious of what their kids are concluding. Okay. So I want to start getting you ready to take you through the process. And I want you to understand your parents weren't bad. They didn't do the wrong thing. They're not trained. They don't know how to empower kids. So we all end up with these beliefs. You go to school, you see 97 questions. You take a test with 100 questions. You get 97 right and 3 wrong. And when you get back to paper, what do you see? Three red X's, right? 3 red X's. So that's what you see. I'm not good enough. I didn't get everything right. So school sets us up for, I'm not smart, right? So the first 6 years of your life, you are in an environment where very few of us get, wow, you tried hard. You didn't get it, but man, you looked like you were having so much fun when you were doing that. Like we would say to our kids in sports, you looked like you were just going for it in the water. The fact that you didn't win doesn't mean anything about you. Very few of us had parents like that. So we're going to look at what our patterns are and what beliefs cause them. Okay. Deborah, are we ready to do that?
Yes, absolutely. And
Oh,
I was
okay,
just
good.
I just have to say, I was just thinking about my son is 33 and he just posted something on his Instagram and it was something about what he did. And he said, even though I'm the most handsome, smartest, most wonderful boy in the world, it was because we were together in LA. So it was something about us together. And then he made a mistake. And then he was just saying, according to my mother, and
Good.
I did that too.
Yeah.
I didn't say, "Oh, that picture doesn't look like me." I would say, "That is so beautiful, and I love the way you made my eyes, and like circles, and the smile is just, so I'm just laughing here, but this is so good already. But I
Okay,
did
good.
notice some things when I was a little kid, things that my parents said to me. So maybe that's how I
So,
concluded I'm not smart enough, right?
yes, and exactly. And they don't, parents have their own beliefs and they do the best they can. And we'll talk about that as we go through the process. So don't
Yes.
try to protect your parents. My parents were the most loving people on the planet. I was blessed beyond words this lifetime. My father still said things to me like, you don't use your head, right? And my mother was only happy when I was included, invited, and popular. So I had the belief what makes, I'm not good enough from my dad's, you don't use your head. And Nina, my cousin, was a studier, right? And so she got straight A's. And he used to say, Nina's the smart one, Shelly's the social one, right? So I had, I'm good with people, but like Deborah, I wasn't smart. And so I had to get rid of that belief as well. But I also had the belief what makes me good enough is having other people think well of me, which is a very common belief that stops us from taking risks, from putting that video on TikTok, from launching your product, from taking that step, whatever it is. We're worried about what are people going to think. And when I got rid of that belief, you guys, I swear to God, my entire life changed in that moment. I spoke in Croatia in front of 600 people. And my focus, if I'm okay, so I'm okay, I'm good enough, whether anybody thinks so or not. I'm open to feedback. I always want to know, am I being a way that works? After this call, I'll say to Deborah, did I do anything or say anything that didn't work? I love feedback, but it no longer defines me. It no longer has anything to do with my good enoughness. And so when I'm okay and I'm good enough, I don't have to have my focus over here. My focus is on you. My focus is on service, right? I want to make a difference in your lives, whatever you think of me. And that is a freedom that it just, I bless my husband every day of my life, my late husband. Um, um, can I repeat the belief that you had? What makes me good enough? It's called a survival strategy belief. So I'll explain this and then we're going to do the process. I'm not good enough is a belief, right? And this is why a lot of the way people do belief work doesn't work to get rid of beliefs, because a belief is here. I'm not good enough, right? Now, you're going to stand in front of a mirror going, I'm good enough, I'm good enough, I'm good enough. You can't put something where there already is something, right? So you have to get rid of it. And the way we try to get rid of beliefs is with what we call survival strategy beliefs. So we're not going to get into that today, but if you go further with this work, you'll see that belief on our natural confidence product. So I'm not good enough. If you get acknowledged for achievements when you're a kid, for A's and goals, you're going to have the belief what makes me good enough is achieving things. Then you're going to become a workaholic because you're trying to hold this beach ball called I'm not good enough underwater. And every time you stop achieving, it pops up. Every time somebody didn't think well of me, I'm not good enough is in my face. So I have to have more people love me and more people love me. And it's like a heroin addiction. If you're the oldest, anybody could write in the chat, are you the oldest of 5 or more? You probably have the belief, what makes me good enough is taking care of people because you got acknowledged for helping with the siblings. So you have the beach ball, I'm not good enough, and so you become a nurse because you have to take care of people all the time, right? Okay, so those are survival strategy beliefs. Now, we're going to get rid of today. Oh, and the other thing is like tapping and stuff like that. In the moment, it might get rid of a belief, but we're going to do a step in the process where you actually feel like you saw your belief in the world. And I'm going to explain that really quickly right now, and then we're going to do it. Let's assume you and I are talking on the street, and you have a belief that Deborah doesn't like you. And Deborah walks past and she doesn't say hello. Wouldn't you say to me, see, I told you she doesn't like me. See? And it's as if you could, thank you for the thumbs up. And it's as if you could see she doesn't like me. But you can't see she doesn't like me. You could see her walk by and not say hello. That's why our beliefs don't go away with tapping and affirmations and all those other things. You talk yourself out of it, but it still feels like you saw it. And you can't not believe something you think you saw. When you're 8 years old, you go, Santa Claus. What do you mean there's no Santa Claus? There he is, he's right there. Santa Claus in front of Macy's. No, you see a guy in a red suit with a white beard. You never saw Santa Claus. Then your belief goes away and it never comes back. Okay, ready? We're going to do it. So I want everybody to have a pattern. Now, Deborah said you get rid of a belief, you get rid of a pattern. No, you get rid of a few beliefs and then you get rid of the pattern. So underlying procrastination, fear of public speaking, all kinds of things are 10 beliefs. You get rid of those, pattern goes away, never comes back. So I want you to write down, just so you have something, a pattern, and you could put it in the chat, something you want to change. It could be behavioral, could be emotional, not a reality pattern. That's for later. So procrastination, not loving myself. Perfect. How does not loving yourself manifest? Like what do you do or not do? Do you not take care of yourself? Do you not? Well, lots of procrastination, people pleasing. That's a good one. Now that's a survival strategy, people pleasing. Having to constantly achieve. I have to torture myself with rash and itch in order to get ahead now. Fear, disorganization, overeating. Not wanting to pick something other than overeating, because that's a little more emotionally charged than most things. So just because we're doing this in a group, try to pick something else. Okay, I am not good enough is a belief. I always judge myself is the pattern. Okay. We're gonna take questions at the end, but Ruth, Deborah, is there a way she
Yeah.
can get her question to me so she can do the process? I don't want it to be in the way.
I don't see what you're
Okay,
talking about. She might have sent
so
you
it says
something.
Ruth raised her hand. Ruth Deutsch raised her hand.
Oh, I see. Yeah, we'll take hand raises at the end. You don't even know why you raised your hand. Oh, she raised her hand saying something.
Okay,
Whatever.
oh, okay. All right,
All right.
so addictive behavior, not putting myself out there, procrastination, hoarding, all of these are fabulous, fabulous patterns. Okay, now we are going to look at a belief. Now, in a group, I try to get rid of the same belief for everybody because it's just easier for me to say it, and it's the number one belief that people have. I am not going to, some of you have worked with me, some of you have done my process. So I'm going to let you work on any belief you want, but I'm going to encourage you to get rid of this one. So everybody take a deep breath. And if possible, I want you to say out loud. And again, I just want to say one last time because I see somebody walking around. If you want to get value from this moment to the end, you got to participate. You got to be in 100%. And I promise something will happen that will shock you. Okay. And it will be very, very uh, um, result producing. So something will shift. Okay. So everybody say out loud, I'm not good enough. Now say out loud, I'm a monkey. So when you said I'm a monkey, I'm going to assume it felt either silly or like nothing. So just write in the chat when you said I'm not good enough. How did that feel? Same or different? Different. Okay. So the first way you know you have a belief is it doesn't feel good to say it. Okay. Now, because I'm not good enough is just words. All right. But it doesn't feel good because we believe it. Now, I'm going to say this. So if you refuse to say it because it's not true, I pretty much guarantee you have the belief. Because if I said to you, say I'm a pirate, you wouldn't look at me and say, I'm not going to say that because it's not true. You'd say, I'm a pirate. That's ridiculous. But if you have any kind of emotional, I'm not saying that, I trust me, you have the belief. And you've been trying with all your personal growth work to keep it at bay. This is about, let's get rid of it. I just did a group for the Mavericks Entrepreneurial Network. And this woman said to me, I'm not working on that. I've been working on it for 40 years. I said, give me 20 minutes. She got rid of the belief. She was, I wish I had taken a snapshot of her face when the belief went away. But there were only 10 people. It was a small group. It was stunning. She's been working on it for 40 years. Okay. All right. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of other beliefs, and I'm going to keep saying I'm not good enough, and you're going to fill in your belief. So it is, I'm not important. That's the other big one. So everybody could say out loud, I'm not important. You can work on money is scarce and hard to get. I'll never get what I want. I'm not lovable. That's a big one. It's a very painful one. Life is hard. So if anybody is not sure if what they're working on is a belief and not a pattern, you can write it in the chat, and then we're going to go to the next step. And hopefully everybody has a belief to work on. And if you look at how that belief correlates to the pattern that you wrote down, rich people are selfish. Now, if you get rid of that belief, okay, there's plenty of rich people who are unselfish. I no longer believe that. How is that going to impact your life? So I want to do something that's going to impact your life. Okay. Yes, just take one belief. Thank you. What is fear? Fear comes from a real or imagined threat to your survival. And anybody who tells you anything different about fear and anger, 35 years of working with people, trust me, and I'll explain really quickly. Anger comes from powerlessness. That's another belief. I'm powerless. Because if you could do something about something, you would just do it. We get angry because we feel powerless. And fear comes from a real or imagined threat to your survival. And we have a process where we can get rid of those emotions very, very, very quickly. If a dog was chasing you, you'd feel fear. And then you look at the dog and he has no teeth, the fear goes away. So fear is always a real or imagined threat to your survival. Okay. Yeah, so lack of direction, lack of money is I'm not good enough. I don't have what it takes. All right, so we're going to now go. Where did that belief come from? So what happened? You weren't born with that belief. You didn't come into the world with it. It got formed once you got here. So I want everybody to write down, where did you get the idea that you're not good enough? You're not important. Whatever belief you're working on, where did that come from? Where did you first discover it? And if it's a self-esteem belief, which I'd love you to work on, it came from your parents for the first 6 years. And then maybe school you could throw in if you were bullied. That had a big impact. Yeah, it's not there from birth. You come into this world, you're a little baby and you don't know anything, and you look around and your parents' interactions. So you can't just say parents. I want you to look at a specific incident. Like my father used to say, you don't use your head. You just don't think. So something, I want you to be a little more specific. Racism, excellent place to look. Yep. So how did it manifest, racism? So with sexual abuse, I'm damaged goods. I'm powerless. I'm worthless. You guys are awesome. Oh, being compared, not getting awards, negative comments. Criticism from parents, perfect. Why can't you be like your oldest sister? These are all excellent. Learning disabilities, great source of negative beliefs. Okay, so everybody looks like they're on the right track with this. Would it make sense that it's the one thing I did to my daughter, you're so sensitive, and being sensitive was bad. Yeah, so that's very, very good, you guys. Not good at sports. Perfect, 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 perfect. Do not use your life today, Ruth, for your belief. Your beliefs came from when you're a child, and your life today looks like it looks because of your beliefs. That's not where you get them, you can look at your life now and say, I didn't do what I want to do and form, but that's not how our beliefs get formed, okay? I mean, you can form a belief, but that's not what we're working on. So we're going to play a game, and the game is called Valid Interpretations. And we're going to make believe that we're watching a video of your childhood. Okay. And we see these events, whatever you wrote down. Okay. And it made total sense for a child to conclude what you did. Anybody who tells you you were stupid or why did you conclude shouldn't be practicing. It makes sense that you concluded that. Of course you did. Who wouldn't believe their parents when you're little? Who wouldn't believe your teachers if they say you're stupid? Now, we're going to play a game, and the game is called Valid Interpretations. And we're going to make believe we're watching a video of your childhood. I want you all to come up with one other interpretation that would explain the events just as well as I'm not good enough. So in my case, my father said, you don't think, you don't use your head. And that could mean I'm not good enough, but it can also mean that I'm a kid and that I hadn't learned yet whatever it was that I wasn't doing right. So I just hadn't learned it yet. That didn't mean I wasn't good enough. So everybody take a minute and write in the chat, what's another interpretation that would explain your beliefs? I'm going to be quiet for a minute.
Could I ask you a question?
Yes.
Okay, so my belief is I have to be perfect in order to be loved.
Yeah.
Okay. And what I saw was my parents praising other kids for whatever. One, was pretty, one was smart, one was, you know,
Yeah, but that's a survival strategy belief, and it's going to be a little more complicated. I don't want to confuse
because a
people,
lot
but
of people are saying, I saw parents praising other kids or comparing
yeah,
them
but we're
to
not at the seeing step. Yes. Okay. So I saw my parents do that. Yes. Good. And
So I saw my parents praising other kids or my
that
cousins,
could, yeah. And it could mean,
and it could mean that they just casually commented on my cousin being pretty.
right. But that doesn't mean that you're not good enough. See, again, I don't want to do a survival strategy is I have to in order to. And we get rid of that differently.
Okay.
Okay, so now you can do it, you can play with it. I have to be perfect in order to be loved. Maybe that was true around my parents, but Auntie Shelly loved me no matter what. So another interpretation is I had to be perfect in order to be loved in my family, but in another family, maybe I wouldn't have. Does that make
So
sense,
that's
Deborah?
you're asking for another interpretation. Okay.
Right. So another interpretation, somebody gave me a great one. For the belief I'm not lovable. One interpretation that would explain the fact that my father never kissed me or hugged me or told me he loved me is I'm not lovable. Another interpretation is my father was incapable of showing love. Okay.
Got it.
My mother felt inadequate, so she couldn't make me feel important because she had to feel important. Is that a valid interpretation? Would that explain what we see? Yes. Mom and dad are overwhelmed and they don't pay attention to me, not because I'm not important or I'm not good enough, but because they're overwhelmed. Now I have to ask you all a question. How many of your parents took my parenting or any parenting course? Not a lot of hands, right? So one interpretation is they didn't have the parenting skills to empower you. They didn't know how. So they criticized you and yelled at you, not because you weren't good enough or you weren't smart, but because they didn't have the parenting skills and tools. Would that explain the event? So make believe there are 6 people watching the events that you wrote down where the belief got formed. And you say, well, here's another one. How many 5-year-olds want to sit still in a restaurant? None. But parents don't say to kids, honey, I know you want to run around the restaurant. You're full of energy, but you can't because it disturbs people. Let's play a game at the table. They say, sit down. What's wrong with you? Get over here. So one interpretation is your parents had unrealistic expectations of you. It's not that you weren't good enough or you weren't smart. They have unrealistic expectations. How many of you were told to get straight A's? I say to parents, do you excel at everything? And they look at me and they go, well, of course not. And I say, oh, but you expect your kid to. And they go, oh, oh, huh. So one interpretation is your parents had unrealistic expectations. And if somebody is working on sexual abuse, that's my favorite population of people to work with because I'm going to do something at the end that your head's going to explode. So one interpretation is whatever you said. And another is something happened to you that shouldn't have happened, but that doesn't mean you're damaged goods or you're worthless or you're powerless. So if you're not the favorite in your family, one interpretation is you're not good enough or you're not as good as others. Another interpretation is you had different qualities than the person who was the favorite, but that doesn't mean you're not good enough. Maybe your mother liked boys, or maybe your mother related to your sister, or maybe you were too sassy for your parent. So if you don't live up to expectations, that could mean you're not good enough. But it can also mean that you haven't developed yet. My husband didn't do that well in school. And then he got into the University of Chicago, because in those days it wasn't like today. And he discovered the power of ideas, and he became a learner and realized, guess what? He was a genius. So the fact that he didn't do that well in school didn't mean he wasn't a genius or he wasn't smart. So our parents have their own, if a parent has a belief, I'm not good enough, and you do something wrong, they yell at you and get upset because their I'm not good enough just came up and they're angry and upset, not because you're not good enough. And I'm going to say one last thing about school and bullying, and then we're going to move to the next step. School is auditory. Okay, I am a questioner. I am a visual learner. I want to know, yeah, but what about this and what about that? And so I hated school, right? But that doesn't mean I'm not smart. I just wasn't learning in my learning style, and I was in a shitty learning environment. So it's not that you're not smart or you're not good enough. You just were in a shitty learning environment. And bullying, kids will bully you if you're too tall, too short, too fat, too skinny, pimples, braces, glasses, different color skin, hair, whatever. If you are not confident, like my kid was bullied for being the new kid. The kids on the swim team, water polo team said, let's just not talk to Britt. Just for no reason. So kids bully because they feel not good enough and they have to put somebody down to feel good enough. So does everybody have at least two alternative interpretations to explain the events just as well as your belief? So even if your parents thought you weren't good enough, that doesn't mean it's true. If you lived next door to me and Deborah, we would have thought you were fabulous. So look at your events and imagine you're somebody else. Take yourself out of the events, for those of you who said no, okay? And put another little kid in there. And that little kid is being treated the way you are. Would you say that kid is not good enough? No, you'd say the parents are screwed up, or the parents are not good parents. So if you look at the events of where the belief came from, there are other ways to interpret the same events that you couldn't see as a child. So if there are other valid interpretations, is what you said, whatever belief you're working on, I'm not good enough, I'm not lovable, is that the truth or one valid interpretation? Everybody write in the chat. Is the belief that you're working on the truth or one valid interpretation? Awesome. Okay, good. I wanted to make sure I had enough. All right. And I'll pop somebody through at the end. Awesome. Oh, you guys are amazing. Now, okay. Doesn't it seem like as a child, you saw, I'm not good enough, or I'm not lovable, or whatever belief you're working on, doesn't it seem like you saw that belief in the world? Like if I was there, you could point to it. Write in the chat, please. Yes, it was very real, of course. Okay, good. Now, this is the most important question I'm going to ask you. Did you ever see, and I'm going to explain it. Did you ever see your belief? Did you ever see, I'm not good enough? I'm not lovable. I'm not whatever you're working on. Okay. I have to be perfect in order to be loved. Did you ever see that? Okay. Before you start writing yes and no, because you're not there yet. Everybody look at what I'm holding in my hand. Okay. This is my brand new water bottle where the bottom screws off and you can wash it. It's amazing. Can everybody see it? Does it have a color, a shape, and a location? So seeing means I see out of my eyeballs. Anything you could see has a color, shape, and location. Did you ever see, I'm not good enough? I'm not lovable. Rich people are selfish, whatever your belief that you're working on is. I'm not important. Did you ever see that belief? So if somebody says yes, only one of you said yes so far. This is great. 2 said yes. Does your belief, I'm looking at the video, Deborah and I are standing with you. We're looking at your events. Can you see whatever belief you're working on? Does that belief have a color, a shape, and a location? Okay, so most of you said no. So now I'm going to ask you, for those who said yes, what did you see? So I can see, a couple of you write in the chat, what did you, if you didn't see I'm not good enough or I'm not important, what did you see? No, I don't want reinforcements. You can't see reinforcements. You can see glasses, you can see lipstick, you can see a telephone. You cannot see reinforcements. You can see your parents say, what's wrong with you? I can see them criticizing you. That's seeable. And you can't see people. People is 9 billion. You can see what people? Again, those of you who are doing friends and bosses are not doing what I told you to do. I told you to do childhood, okay? So I'm going to stay with the people who are in their childhoods. I saw being left or forgotten by my parents. I saw being awarded for putting my toys away. I saw my parents doubting my story of abuse. I'm watching a video with all of you, all 300 of you, or however many there are. I can see your parents yelling at you, not being home. You can see the absence of something. I can see not that your mom not responding to you. I saw my parents saying, not good enough, son. You are not, I could see them saying it. But where was it's true? People say a lot of things. You've said things to your kids, and then you go, God, I'm so sorry. I was just angry or upset. I didn't mean it. And even if you think your kid is stupid, that doesn't mean they're stupid. You are not God, and your parents weren't. Being told I was too sensitive by my dad, period. You can't see results of the circumstances. I want you guys to be specific. This is the most important step in the process. I saw my parents focusing attention on my brother for running on the track team and getting into medical school. Everybody here can see that. I can see you failing classes in school, but you cannot see I'm stupid. Some of the most successful people, billionaires, didn't do well in school. And it's all on the internet. Everyone favored my brother. Not everyone in the whole world, everyone in your family. And you don't even know that. I thought my mother favored my brother until she told me, your father loved you so much, I was afraid he'd never love your brother so as much. So I gave your brother all the attention. But I loved you with every fiber of my being. So you can't see I'm not the favorite. You could see the way they treat your brother and treat you. My mother picked us up late from daycare and talked about herself all day. That is seeable. But I'm not important is not. Does that make sense, everybody? I want you to start shaking your heads. Does that make sense? You cannot see, I'm not good enough. Life is hard. Money is scarce and hard. Whatever belief, thank you for the thumbs up. Whatever belief you're working on, you cannot see that belief. Okay? You can't see assumptions. Thank you, Barbara. I saw that my mom made me do jazz ballet when I wanted to go to sports. Yes, that is seeable, but you can't see what I want is not important. Okay, so if you didn't see your belief out in the world, where was it? Everybody write in the chat. If it wasn't out there to be seen, where was it? So for those of you who said internal, is it in your liver or your gallbladder? Thank you. Nadine, it is not in the words. So I'm talking to you. Are there beliefs in my words? In your mind. It is not in your heart. If I open you up, I'm not good enough is not in your heart. I'm not good enough is in your mind. I'm not important is in your mind. I'm not lovable is in your mind. It is the child's answer to why? Why is my mom comparing me to my brother? Why? Why is my father criticizing me? Why can't I live up to their expectations? Oh, I see. I'm not good enough. Beliefs are in your mind. Being shy didn't give you a pain in your heart. The beliefs that you formed gave you a pain in your heart, not being shy. Because if you had said, I'm shy, I'll probably come into myself when I grow up, but it doesn't mean anything. You wouldn't have a pain in your heart. So I'm going to explain that in a little bit. So if the belief was never out there to be seen, the only place it's ever been is in your mind. You made it up. You weren't stupid. Any kid, if somebody tells me their childhood, I write down their beliefs. I was criticized, I'm not good enough. My parents were never home, I'm not important. I never got affection, I'm not lovable. It's not rocket science. That's what a kid concludes. It's still made up. Now, I'm going to make a distinction, okay? And a lot of you are going to explode your brains for this. The distinction is consequences versus meaning. Okay? There are consequences to being sexually abused. It doesn't feel good. It's scary, right? There are consequences to getting criticized all the time. You feel unloved and you feel not. So I'm not minimizing consequences. I've had clients who were locked in their rooms. I had clients who were beaten, incested. I am not minimizing the consequences. But I'm going to ask you a question that is life-changing. And I don't want you to answer it because I'm going to explain it. What does it really mean? What do we know for sure because that happened? So you said it means whatever belief you wrote down. Then you said, well, it could mean I'm not good enough. And it could mean my parents had unrealistic expectations. And it could mean a lot of things. Okay. Not much is a qualifier. That's not this. If I want everybody to answer this, if you're in a room and somebody you know comes in and doesn't speak to you, what might you automatically think? Just write in the chat, anything. They don't like me. Something's wrong. They're in another world. They're mad at me. They're shy. They don't like me. Perfect. Everybody, I want you to tell me, where did all of those meanings come from? Perfect. My mind. All meaning, you guys are awesome. Awesome. All meaning comes from your mind. So if meaning is in your mind, do events have meaning, inherent meaning? Awesome. Oh, Deborah, I love this. Yay! Okay. Events have no inherent meaning. I don't know anything for sure because something happens. So I'm going to give you an example. My husband died. I loved him more than anything. We were married 35 years and we had an exquisite marriage. I was devastated. But does it mean I'm going to be alone for the rest of my life? Does it mean I'm going to starve to death? Does it mean anything? Do we know? Not that it doesn't matter. It doesn't have meaning. We don't know anything for sure because it happened. So when you're sexually abused, while it's happening, it's a terrible thing. It doesn't feel good. It's scary. It's disrespectful. It's a lot of things. But it doesn't mean anything about you. And it's the meaning, well, hold on, let me take you there. So what does it mean that what happened to you happened to you? That whatever you wrote down for the beliefs, what does it mean that you were compared to your sister, or you couldn't run track like your brother, or your parents told you you were stupid, or not good enough, or whatever happened to you? What do we know for sure? So if I said to you, when I was a kid, I failed every subject in school. Other than that, do you know anything for sure about me? You don't know if I'm successful today. You don't know if I went to college. You know nothing other than what I told you. So what does it mean that what happened to you happened? What meaning does it have? My mind just exploded. And for those people who think the events have the meaning I give them, watch this. The meaning you give them is in your mind. Here's the events. I was criticized. I failed. I was bullied. Whatever happened, here's the events. After you give the event meaning, where's the meaning? It's still in your mind. Thank you. For those of you pointing, thank you. The meaning is still in your mind, even after you give the meaning. It's never in the events. The events don't have meaning. Now, here's the last step. Doesn't it seem like those events that you wrote down made you feel your belief? Like being compared made me feel not good enough. Being bullied made me feel not good enough. For sure, right? Now watch this. This, guys, can be life-changing. Can events that have no meaning make you feel anything? So if you're walking down the street and a man walks past you and it has no meaning, what are you going to feel? Nothing. If you give it the meaning he's dangerous, you will feel fear. If you give it the meaning he'll protect me, you will feel safe. So, Marcia, events that have no meaning cannot make you feel anything. Imagine you're sexually abused and you walk away going, oh my God, that was awful. I hope that never happens again. And that's it. You don't give it any meaning. Is it going to define the rest of your life? It is not what happens to you in life that screws you up. It is the meaning you give it. So, what made you feel your belief? What made you feel not good enough? What made you feel like life was unsafe? What made you feel like you weren't lovable? Okay, I don't like that. I made myself feel it. How do you make yourself feel something? My thoughts, my assumptions, my interpretations. Yes. So beliefs get formed in the past. Meaning gets formed in the moment. The meaning you give events comes from your beliefs. That's why we want to get rid of our beliefs. So your parents' stress about money as interpreted by you. Brilliant. My interpretation. So all your feelings come from the meaning you give events. So I want you to all close your eyes. And I want you to imagine giving the same exact events different meaning. Imagine Auntie Shelly and Auntie Deborah are standing next to you, and we say, Karen, Barb, Jerry, Michelle, Colleen, you are good enough. Your parents are dysfunctional. Imagine thinking, my parents are dysfunctional, or my parents have unrealistic expectations, or I'm in a shitty school system, or these kids don't know a good thing when they see it, or I haven't come into myself yet, or my parents don't have money, but that doesn't mean I can't. Richard Branson's kids don't feel this way. So, David, your feeling that you're not good enough didn't come from my attempts to perform blah, blah, blah. Your feeling came from the meaning you gave those events. So imagine thinking, my parents can't see my light. They're only two people, and they don't have perfect lives. You know, it's not like our parents are perfect. They think I'm not good enough, but that doesn't mean it's true. They're not the experts. And as you're giving the same events different meaning, do you still have the feeling that your belief, the feeling you're not good enough? If you said, I am lovable, there's no kid that's not lovable. My parents are incapable of loving. They're shut down from their own childhoods. And as you're giving the same events that meaning, imagine being a little kid and you're giving the same events that meaning. Do you still have the feeling? Everybody write in the chat, please. Awesome. And if you didn't have that feeling when you were a kid, would you have that feeling today? Okay, everybody take a deep breath. I don't want you to learn from this. I want you to get rid of a belief. Okay, everybody take a deep breath. Say your belief out loud. Does it feel the same or different as when you said it at the beginning? So if the belief still feels, most of you are saying different. Few, yes. Awesome. So for those of you who still think, if the belief still feels the same, go back to the step. Did you ever see the belief in the world? It makes me laugh now. That's my favorite. No tightness in my chest. It's not true. Ha ha. Now, let me give you a gift because this is Deborah, and Deborah is so spiritual, and I know her people are. So close your eyes. Where did that belief come from? You made it up. Notice, yeah, how did that happen? Notice your life is consistent with your beliefs. It just is, always. If you believe water's hot, You're not going to put your hand in it, boiling. So if you create your beliefs, and don't write in the chat, I want you to just close your eyes and do this. If you create your beliefs and your beliefs create your life, what does that make you? The creator of your life, right? You come into this world as a little ball of consciousness. Before you create any distinctions about yourself, life, or people, does any exist? Do any exist? In that space, what's possible? What limitations do you have? Distinctions. You come into this world as a little ball of consciousness. Before you create any distinctions about life, people, money, do they exist? In that space, what's possible? What limitations do you have in that space? Freedom. Awesome. You have no limitations. That is who you are. Who you are is the little ball of consciousness that creates. Who you are is limitless possibility. So for those of you who did that, write in the chat, how does that feel in this moment? Amber, wait. Amber Lightfoot. Okay. All right, guys, that was it. Deborah,
Yes, that
can I?
was amazing. Hold on, I'm gonna add my spotlight, add
Okay.
myself as a spotlight. I got rid of another one.
Can I pop someone through who says she's reeling and traumatized?
Yes, but we have 8 minutes until, because I told people it would be 90
Oh,
minutes.
a Q&A.
So,
Okay.
so, so here's what I like to do. I wanted the people who are in my current Awake Method class, you can stay on because we have some things that we need to do. But for everybody else, I also wanted to share that you have a free gift for
I
everyone.
do. I
Yes,
do.
so I am going
So
to share that. Oh, were you going to say something
I was
about
just
gift?
going to say, if we did this in a group and it was fast, but if you want to go through this on your own, eliminate a belief for free is recreateyourlife.com/success. But if you want to buy the Natural Confidence Program, there are 19 self-esteem beliefs, including mistakes and failures are bad. If I make a mistake or fail, I'll be rejected. What makes me good enough is having other people think well of me. And we will take you through the process with each and every belief. And you can go at your own pace. You're going to write it down. You're going to be alone in your room. And it is spectacular. It is spectacular. We have thousands and thousands of testimonials.
I'm just going to repeat that the Natural Confidence Program, where that you can purchase at recreateyourlife.com/Poneman. Shelly also gave us a 25% discount. We even made a beautiful landing page with 25% discount for my community. So you could thank me later. And I have to say that I have offered this to my community in past years. And, when I offer things to people, sometimes people say, oh, thank you, that was great. I get so many people saying, thank you for offering that Natural Confidence Program. And it's very inexpensive. And I think there's two different uh, levels, but I have to say, it really is outstanding. And for those who just want to eliminate a belief for free, you could go to recreateyourlife.com/success. So anything else you want to say about this, Shell? before we?
Just, I cannot tell you, we made it very, very reasonable because we want people to have this. My late husband's only thing he cared about in life was having people live as the unlimited possibilities that they are. He wanted, and I want people to be free of the shit that we carry with us through our whole lives. Do we have time for a couple of questions for 5 minutes?
Yes, so now what we'll do is we'll take Q&A, and then if people want to leave after the Q&A, or I mean, you can leave anytime you want, but if you want to leave after the Q&A, you are going to take some people through in my current Awake Method class. You could stay on because remember what I promised you. Okay. People are like, I want to be in that Awake Method class next
Yeah.
time. Okay. So if anybody has a question, you can raise your hand down at the bottom. There's a little icon that says raise hand, or it might be, you can click on, sometimes it's, you can click on react and you will see the icon, or you can go like this. If you click on react, that's message to you, Shelly. But
Oh.
raise hand is at the bottom. So first we have Janelle was the first person to raise their hand. And Janelle, I'm sorry, Janelle, you can go ahead and unmute. Janelle, unmute.
Yes, can you
There you
hear
go.
me?
Yep.
I
Oh,
certainly
great.
can.
Oh, thank you. So, I did this process. I didn't feel really like an aha. It just kind of felt like theoretical, like, okay, I understand the thought behind it. But so I'm just wondering, did I not do it correctly, or
Yes, you
is
did
that
not do it
correct?
correctly.
Oh, okay.
So just,
Okay.
Janelle, what you want to do is go back to that moment in your childhood where you concluded that belief. And if you get, I never saw that belief, I made it up, the belief will go away. And it's not about an aha, it's not about a woo, it's about if you believe you're not important, you're not going to speak up, there's going to be behaviors. If you get rid of that belief, things will be different. You'll start doing things you never did before. So your behavior changes. So it's not about an aha, it's not about understanding it, it's about eliminating something that you think is the truth. It's as if
Okay.
I went, oh my God, this isn't a water bottle, it's a piggy bank that looks like a water bottle, but there's no spout and there's money inside and there's a slot to put coins. I made up that it was a water bottle. When I come in tomorrow and I see it, I'm not gonna drink out of it.
Okay. Because I have a challenging time. I don't have very strong memories of my childhood. And
Yeah.
so trying to think back of like a specific instance was difficult. I
Yeah.
can remember the, what did you call it? The what I interpreted it as. The
Mm-hmm.
meaning. I can remember the
Yeah.
meaning that I came
Yeah.
up with, but trying to think of specific instances, I
You don't
don't
need
have
specific
those
instance.
memories.
Yeah, you don't need specific
Okay.
instances. You just have to get that whatever happened in your family, you never saw that belief. And
That's the
you
key.
can, yeah, that's the key. Yeah. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank
Thank,
you.
yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you, Janelle. Shell, I have a question. Customer service. What's Rodney's email address for customer service? Somebody who bought it last time said they didn't get the bonuses. I guess maybe there was a bonus.
Yeah, there's bonuses. Rodney@lefkoeinstitute.com.
Oh, everybody gets bonuses when they purchase?
If
Oh,
you buy
wow.
the premium, yeah.
Oh, oh, the premium. Okay.
And it's
All
only
right.
like $10 more than the regular. Yeah,
Okay. Oh, yes, that's right. I remember that. Okay,
yeah.
Marcia and then Ruth and then Darlene. So Marcia on mute and then Ruth and then Darlene.
Hi, thank you, and thank you so much. I just wanted to make sure I was understanding the process of seeing the color, the shape, and the location. So as an example, if if one of the things that came up with me was that rich people are selfish, which
Yes.
is very vague. So would I need to recall a specific statement in time when I was a
No,
child?
not a statement. How do you know that's true? You weren't born with that belief.
Right.
Everybody who didn't get it, do this with me. How do you know it's true? Where did that belief come from?
My father lived through the Russian Revolution. My mother was born in the Depression, to immigrants.
Perfect. And did they say that? We're going to do this very fast. Did they say that?
I don't, maybe around the dinner table, like, ugh,
Perfect.
well,
Perfect. So you can that, or you could see him tell stories of the
yeah,
rich people during the Depression. Like your dad's telling these stories, and you came up with that. But
yeah.
did you ever see all rich people are selfish? Is
Well,
that
no,
something you can't see
no,
that?
some are and many aren't.
That's
Yeah.
right. There are some people who are crazy, but you don't believe people are crazy. You can get hit crossing the street, but you don't believe crossing the street is
Yeah,
dangerous. So did you ever see all rich
right.
people are yes or no? All rich
No,
people are, no.
no.
If there's philanthropists, all my friends are rich. Deborah and I have the same friends. They're all rich. They're the least selfish people. Marcy Shimoff is the least selfish person I've ever met in my life. Okay. So what does it mean? Sorry. So where was rich people are selfish? If it wasn't out there to be seen, where was it?
My
That's
interpretation
right.
at the
Perfect.
dinner table.
In your head, in here. And what
Okay,
does it
so
mean and what does it mean that your father told stories about rich people?
he told stories.
And what does it mean?
They were his version
Bep, 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 bep,
of,
bep, 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 bep. You're giving me a meaning in your head. Guys, meanings in here. What do the events mean?
no reality, no truth,
Marcia,
no meaning,
the
no
events.
meaning.
Thank you. That's it. Now, say rich
Okay.
people are selfish.
Rich people are selfish.
Thank you.
Okay, the distinction though, if I'm doing this with other things, is in terms of color and mine, I need to think of where did it start?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, okay,
Good
I'll
job.
hold
Thank you. So I want to give
Thanks.
lots of, I want to make sure I
Of
get to
course.
everybody's questions. Good job.
All
Thank you.
right.
That was
Thank you,
awesome.
Marcia. Yeah, so everybody gets 2 minutes at the most with Shelly. And because we got lots of hands up. And before everybody leaves, I just want you to people are asking for the URL again. I'll put it in the chat, but it's recreateyourlife.com/success is where you will get your Eliminate a Belief for free, the Natural Confidence Program, and you'll see all the other people who love this program, like Jack Canfield, like the aforementioned Marcy Shimoff, like so many names and people that you will recognize. They all love Shelly's work. Okay,
Deborah,
so
somebody said, Shelly, where were you 50 years ago?
yeah. Many people probably are thinking that, but there's no time like the present. All right. So naturalconfidence.com or recreateyourlife.com/Poneman. I'll write it in the chat for you guys. And then the other thing I want to say is that for those of you who have to leave, thank you so much for being here. It was just so, I hope it was good for you because it was good for me, or however that saying goes. And I mean, it was
Can I answer
spectacular.
one quick question? Somebody
Yes.
said, what do you think about trauma stored in the body? And here's what I say. I don't know, but I know that when my clients eliminate their beliefs, their behavior changes, their emotions change. So, I'm not a big fan of trauma in the body or that this process releases that. It just does.
Yes.
So, okay, let's go
Yeah,
ahead.
and I know people who have used your process, and not only did they have trauma in their body, I mean, they had physical injury in their body and the pain diminished. I mean, I don't know, I don't want to say names, but that has happened to people. So
Oh, I
anyway,
love these comments.
so
Okay.
all right, I know you love to hear what people have to say. Shelly, she said Marcy's the most generous person in the world, and that's true. And Shelly is the most generous person in the world with her knowledge because she so genuinely wants your life to shift. So
I do.
genuinely. So, okay, Ruth, you are next. If you could go ahead and unmute, there you go. Hey,
Okay.
Ruth.
Okay. So you've got a great way of handling this issue. I've actually studied it with other people. I was a psych major and I've been working on me for years and years and years. And what you've got is great. And I was thinking maybe what you've got is something that could help what I've been suffering from for the last 2 years. That when I turned 70, I said, damn, I haven't done enough with my life. And and it's like, how could this have happened? And a couple months later, suddenly there's a rash, there's an itch, and it started spreading, and it's over about 25% of my body, and it doesn't go away. And I realized, okay, this is somehow connected to, it's like my needing to focus on getting ahead.
So sweetheart, I just want you, I need you to ask a question because we have a lot of people in very little
Okay.
time.
Okay,
So what's the
so
question?
is there a way if my belief came up recently? It wasn't from my childhood because I did all that stuff about
Yes, you just do the same process. You just do the same process. It's the
because
same thing. If you get the natural confidence course, instead of the word that they're taking you through, just do your belief that you just came up with and go through the same process.
okay, all right,
Okay? You're welcome.
All
Thank
right,
you
dear.
for
Thank
asking.
you,
Yeah.
Ruth. Thank you. I know that Shelley wishes that she could take care of each person individually, but
I'm giving up
unfortunately,
pickleball to be with you guys. So
yeah,
just so you know.
that's a big deal for this woman. Believe you me, as my mother used to say. Darlene. Oops, where'd you go? Oh,
Hi, I thank
thanks.
you, Shelly. This was amazing. I just want to know how I can kind of like I'm a Girl Guide leader, which is Scouts in your world down south, and
You're a what
of
leader?
the 49. A Girl Guide leader for
Oh,
girl
okay.
for age 9 to 12. I just want to know
Got it.
how I can try and get those girls to stop, because some of them are like, oh, I'm always being beaten up, I'm that type of thing. So I want to know how to get that to stop. Just try and do a class on
So,
what.
well, you could get trained. We do trainings
Okay.
for people, but you
Oh,
can
perfect.
also, yeah, you can definitely get trained. And when you hear them say that, say, how do you know that's true? And just come up with some other interpretations, and that will shift it
Right.
for kids. Yeah,
Oh,
thank
Wonderful.
that's
you.
so
Yes.
brilliant. Great question, great answer. Did everybody get that? When
Yeah.
people are
How do you
saying,
know it's true?
yeah, that
Where
I
did
have
it
to be
come from? Where
perfect
did
for
you
my mother.
discover that? Yeah, go ahead, Deb.
Yeah, no, that's it.
Yeah,
you know, my mother, I have to be perfect for my mother to love me, or I'm not good enough, or I'll never be good enough, or you just say, so what was the sentence you said?
how do you know that's true? So
How do
where did
you
the
know
belief
that's
come from? So with kids, they say things like, everybody hates me. Really? Where did you discover that? How do you know that's true? Well, the kids didn't invite me to the party. Well, that could mean they hate you. What else could it mean? They were only allowed a certain number of kids. It could mean one kid said, let's not talk to so-and-so, and, you know, and you just brainstorm alternative interpretations with them.
Perfect.
Wonderful.
And
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Darlene.
yes, Darlene is wonderful. Okay, so let's see, remove spotlight. I also want to say, just as an aside, besides your natural confidence course and also eliminating the belief for free, if anybody is interested in becoming a certified to do this work, you could also write to Rodney at, is it the Lefkoe Institute or Rodney at?
No, Lefkoe, Rodney at LEF is in Frank, KOE, lefkoeinstitute.com.
Yeah, Cynthia, can you write that? Rodney at lefkoeinstitute.com, and there's an E at the end of Lefkoe. And the other thing I
And the
wanted
natural
to say,
confidence link, she keeps putting the free link as opposed to the natural confidence link in the chat.
okay. Yes, please put the natural confidence link, which is recreateyourlife.com/Poneman. Okay, and then another thing that I want to say is Shelly also, I hope it's okay, I say this, Shelly teaches the most amazing parenting course. I learned so much from your discourses. I didn't take the whole course, but what you have told me about parenting is priceless. So if anybody's a parent, if anybody's a grandparent, if anybody is an educator, you could also write to Rodney. I'll put that in the chat. Rodney at Lefkoe Institute, and you could find out about that. Do you have courses coming up?
Yes, I have a parenting course coming up
Do you?
in November, I think it's November, yeah.
Okay, because
I also have a parenting course that's digital, but I'm thinking they should write to info@Lefkoe Institute. All right, well, you're Deborah's people, because I don't want Rodney to get inundated with email.
That's okay. But they're pretty self-sufficient. Okay, so one other thing is, okay, well, let's go ahead. We're going to go quickly through these. Taylor is next.
Thank you so much. This is absolutely amazing. Deborah and Shelly, thank you so much. So Shelly, this is I'm having this thing, no one understands me. And so I just went to an event, and it was literally like I was ostracized. I was like, oh my God, I feel like I'm right in the middle of Mean Girls, and I'm straight up an adult and they're adults, and I literally was ostracized. And I'm trying to get to this root of it, like you said. And where do you discover that? How do you do that when your feelings are kind of like, I can't lie, my feelings are a little bit hurt. How do I get underneath this? This is like really vulnerable for me, because I feel this way in my family. And so to experience it from when I've
So
separate.
stop. Got it. So
Thank you.
so your family, you feel like your family doesn't understand you, right?
I do. I feel like everybody doesn't.
Got it. And you but that's where it started. And
Okay.
you concluded what?
I
I'm not
concluded, yeah, that I'm not worthy because nobody understands me. I'm going to be alone for the rest of my life, like literally by
Okay, so
myself.
there's a lot of beliefs there. So if we were in
Yeah.
a session, I would go through all the beliefs with you, right? If you're
Okay,
doing
yeah.
natural confidence, you can go through all of them. So I can't do all the beliefs. But if
Sure.
you go through each belief, like one interpretation is, I'm not heard. That's true. I won't be heard. And one
Okay.
interpretation is, I won't be heard by my family. I won't be heard until I learn how to communicate. I won't be heard as long as I'm a kid. So there are other ways to interpret the same events. Right?
Okay.
But
Yes.
again, doesn't it seem like you saw, I just won't be heard,
Yes.
right? Did you ever
Yes.
see
Yes, I saw that as a child.
Good.
Yes.
What color is I won't, so I won't be heard? Can you see into the future?
Yes.
You can?
No, I can't literally see into
Oh.
the future. I can see that if I keep this behavior
Yes,
going, what's going to happen.
literally. So you can't see what's going to happen.
Right.
So did you ever see, I won't be heard by anybody under any circumstances in my life? Can you see
No.
that? No, you saw not being heard in your family when you were little.
Yes.
Good. Where was I won't be heard?
Where was it?
Yes.
Actually, it was nowhere, I guess.
Well, it was somewhere. Where was it?
Oof. I
If it
I
wasn't out there to be seen, where was it?
it was inside me,
Where? In your solar plexus? Where?
in my heart.
No. I
Really?
promise you, your beliefs are not in your heart.
Oh, wow.
Where was it?
In my solar plexus, in my stomach, my gut.
No, no, sweetheart, it's not. It's in your head.
Oh my God, really? Darn it. Okay.
You, no, you made it up. You said, so this one didn't hear me, this one didn't hear me, my mother, my father, my sister, my brother. I won't be heard. Where does that come from?
Oh,
Your mind.
yes, you're right.
Good. And what does it mean that no one heard you in your
Nothing.
family? Nothing. Good girl. Now say, I won't be heard.
I won't be heard.
Is that true?
No.
It's
No.
not. Good. Okay. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
All
You're
right,
welcome.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Next person is, I don't know if I'm going to say this right, Kini?
Yes, it's Kine.
Kine, where are you from?
I am from Senegal, but I live in Paris. I'm a teacher
Ah,
in Paris. Yeah.
beautiful. Kine, go ahead.
Yeah, so first of all, thank you so much for I just had a big breakthrough because I'm a school teacher and I could just see everything happening, all the students, the feedback that I get from them, and I'm just like, wow, there's something to be done there when it comes to rewriting their stories and everything. So yeah, so first of all, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
As for me, I just, and then I had the voice in my head saying that, but you need to work on your own beliefs before trying to empower the kids. Because I have this thing where I've been working with self development for years and years, and really trying to modalities and everything, but I know that I have this belief of I don't have enough. I look around and I see people, they have enough money to do things and travel, and we have the same job, but then I just
Yeah, so I cannot take everybody through their beliefs. These are
yeah.
just question times, right? I don't have enough isn't a belief. I mean, I don't have enough to something, but there's a reality, right? I don't have enough money in the bank right now to buy a house. That's true. That's not a belief. I can't buy a house is a belief because maybe you could borrow money, or maybe you could raise the money, or, maybe you could
Mm,
create some miracle and somebody leaves you a house when they die. So I can't have a house. So our beliefs, I don't have enough. What do you believe that has you not have enough? Money is scarce and hard to get. I'll never get what I
yeah,
want, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I think that's the
yeah,
one. Yeah.
that's the one. And that's the one that you want to work on, okay?
Yeah, yes, that's the one I actually worked on when we
Yeah,
did the exercise. But
and did it go
I
away?
just I had these thoughts saying, oh, but that was true. That was true. I saw my parents in the situations where they didn't have enough.
That's right.
They
But what was your belief?
The belief was there wasn't enough money.
There
Uh,
wasn't. There
yeah,
wasn't
money
enough
was
money,
scarce.
but money was scarce and hard to get. Did you ever see that? You saw
Uh,
money was scarce and hard to get in your house in Senegal when you were a child. That's seeable. But where was money is scarce and hard to get?
Mm.
Where was that?
Oh yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. Good
Yeah,
girl.
yeah.
Now say money
Yes.
is scarce and hard to get.
Money,
Say it.
money is scarce and hard to get.
Is that true?
I don't believe it.
Awesome. Good girl. Okay,
Oh.
next.
Fabulous. Okay. Thank you,
And we
dear.
have to leave some time
Au
for
revoir.
your peeps, right?
Right. I'm working on that over here. Au
Okay.
revoir.
Bye,
Marianne.
Kim.
I'm one of the awake peeps, so should I wait?
No, you can't. If do you have a question for Shelly? Or do you want to
Well,
work
that's
with
what
her?
I probably the working, because I have brain cancer and a lot of this processing, and like literally it's in my brain, so I'm really efforting to understand because I'm still living, yet I'm also in a pattern of sabotage where I have had 2 tumors grow. I'm still here, and it's I am in a crisis at the moment, but I'm doing fairly well today.
Okay.
But
Well,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
I didn't know that, darling. So, I will, we already have enough people for Shelly to
Okay.
work with, okay? And you are one of them. So let's just take a few more questions really quickly, and then we'll work with you and the other, so many people requested, but we'll do Susan, Christine, because she was the first. Okay, Marianne. I mean, not Marianne,
Deborah, will
Larry.
you tell her to put the other one in the chat /
Yeah,
Poneman?
it's there for Natural Confidence Program. Go to recreateyourlife.com/Poneman.
Okay, there it is now. Okay, got it.
Okay. So Larry,
My question is basically how do I make sure this gets deep down into my subconscious mind when I think pretty much I got it already in the conscious mind but anyway, so the short
Sweetheart,
version is,
do
yeah,
you
go
believe
ahead.
do you believe in Santa Claus?
No,
Did you ever?
yes,
Good. Do you know if it was in your conscious mind, your subconscious mind, or your any other kind of mind?
I I was too young to know that when I believed it, but
No, but
clearly my
here's the
parents.
thing. You believe something is true because you think you saw it. Deborah, if somebody said to me, oh my God, Deborah has the curliest hair, I would say, no, she doesn't. I believe Deborah has straight hair because I saw her hair. And if somebody said, no, it's curly, I'd say, no, it's not. And I would fight them to the death. Now, all of a sudden, Deborah calls me on FaceTime and she had a perm. And I go, oh my God, you have curly hair. The belief that Deborah has straight hair goes away. And because I saw, and she said, Shelly, I've been straightening my hair. Let's do it that way. I've been straightening my hair for years. The truth is, I do have curly hair. Now, I see it. And she didn't straighten her hair. And I go, oh my God, you had curly hair. The belief goes away. It's not conscious. It's not subconscious. It's not deep. It's not anything. It's not all this drama, personal growth nonsense that people talk about. A belief is something you think is true. And when you get, it's not true. My parents did beat me. I have a client whose parents beat her and beat her. That happened, but she concluded I'm bad. And when she got, I never saw I'm bad. I made that up. I saw my parents beat me. And the only place that existed is in my mind. That belief is gone. I don't care if it's conscious, subconscious, it's not in your belly, it's not deep, it's not complicated. People want to make this shit complicated. It's not, Larry, I swear to God. If a belief goes away, it goes away and it never comes back. Santa Claus never came back. The Tooth Fairy never came back. What's the other one? The Easter Bunny. When you got, they don't exist, it didn't come back. Is that good answer?
Absolutely great. Thank you very much.
Good. You're welcome very
That was
much.
great, because somebody else asked, if you could just say what your work is in one sentence, what would it be? That was it. You just nailed it. Okay. All right. So we are done with hands, and now
good.
we are going to bring Miriam back up. And can you raise your hand? And then Susan Christini. Miriam, you need to raise your hand. Well, you know what? Why don't we go ahead, because I don't see her hand being, has raised her hand. Oh, I see why I can't see you, because I was going through this. Okay. All right, dear, go ahead.
It's happening? Okay. Hi. Okay. I'm at a bit of a loss because like I said, I am in a proper crisis because I have just lost the relationship with the person that I have been with as I'm navigating I'm stroke, brain cancer. It's complicated, and I've gone through this exercise. I was born in a Masonic ritual. So my origin story is that I had a 17-year-old and a 39-year-old. I was created to get abused. So my trauma began while my mother was being abused while I was in the womb. And then I was sexually assaulted at birth. So I have carried a lot in my life.
I got it. I got it. And that, yeah. So sweetheart, I've had clients exactly like you, cult stories that would make anybody's hair stand on end. So the first thing is, I am so sorry that happened to you. What is the belief that you want to, I'm sure you have lots of beliefs. If I worked with you, we would have a wonderful time together. But what is the one belief you'd like to get rid of?
I can get out of this condition, this lack, the disease, I'm subsidized, that there's something like I'm gonna be okay. I don't even really know how to articulate what it is because I'm scared.
I got it. So this is not a session to have with me like this. It's just not. Because there's a lot there. So I can help you eliminate I'm bad, or, I don't deserve to live, or I don't deserve health, or I'm here to be abused, or, I could help you do one belief, but that's kind of like, so what? If we were working together, I would help you see, what do you believe that has you creating
the worthless.
I'm worthless. Okay.
Yeah.
So one interpretation that would explain what happened to you as a child, because if you go to people, they're going to tell you your origin story and your mother's trauma and blah, 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 blah. That's not how I work, right? So what happened to you was horrible, horrible, horrible. Okay. One way of interpreting the events is that you're worthless. What's another interpretation? What else could it mean?
My father was he was ill. I don't have the alternative.
Yeah, you do. Because if I picked 5 people randomly from the course and they're watching you being abused.
Okay, I think I chose this life. How about I take on too much responsibility and blame myself?
Stop. But again, we're going to open up a Pandora's box, and I can't do that in a demo for, in a course, but I can work on I'm worthless. So one way of interpreting the events is you're worthless. Deborah says that's not what she sees. She sees your parents have serious mental issues.
Hmm.
Is that a valid interpretation?
Sure.
Good. Another one is you were in a cult and they got snatched and they weren't operating out of their own love and kindness. They were operating out of some mind that people did something to their minds and they treated you the way they did because they were under the influence. And Deborah and I know somebody who was in a cult and she allowed them and did things. And when she came out of the stupor, she was very different. So is it possible that your parents
Yes.
were under influence? Good. And even if they thought you were worthless, even if that were true, everybody in the course is writing they love you and you're beautiful and you're amazing and they don't think you're worthless. Is that a valid interpretation?
Yes.
Good. And you might have jumped out of your basket to incarnate too soon and jumped into the wrong family, but that doesn't mean you're worthless. Because again, if I lived next door, I would have saved you and taken you and you wouldn't have been worthless. Yeah?
Yeah.
Good. So if there are other valid interpretations, is what you said, I'm worthless,
It's
is
not
that
true.
it's one interpretation? Good, but doesn't it seem like you saw that?
What do you mean?
Doesn't it seem like you saw as a child, I'm
Oh, that's
worthless?
what my interpretation was from the constant programming
Right.
conditioning. Yes.
But did you ever see I'm worthless?
Well, would that be like when I would be left somewhere or sent
Look
to a
at me.
foster home or
Yes,
gone to?
yes. I
Is
can
that
see,
okay? So then I'm gonna say I did. Oh,
no. Can
okay.
you see this?
Your phone?
Yes.
Yeah,
Can you see it?
I can.
Can you see this?
No, I can't. Yes.
Good.
Okay, Shelly.
Did you ever see I'm worthless?
No is the answer, obviously.
But you can see being left, right? Being sent to
Yeah.
a foster home, being abused. We could see that. But where was I'm worthless?
Being told I was worthless. Oh, words.
No.
I couldn't see them. I could only
But
hear
where
them.
you could
In my
see your,
brain. That's why there is a tumor.
okay? So we can get rid of that. You made it up.
Well, that's tricky.
And what
Okay. I created
would
this. Yep.
happen? I could see your mother say you're worthless. But if you were watching a mother say to a little girl, you're worthless, and you were watching that, would you say, oh, obviously the kid is worthless?
Okay, well, does the sexual assault or the physical assault count as proof?
No,
No,
it doesn't.
because it's
I
just
can
our
see you be
interpretation of the
sexually,
event. Okay.
I could see you, that's right. So where was I'm worthless?
My head.
If somebody comes in right now and sexually abuses me, am I worthless?
Nope.
No. So what is it? What happened to you, honey, was so horrible that everybody's writing in the comments, oh, it was a blah, blah, blah. I'm not minimizing that. My heart hurt.
That's just the root
But
where
what,
it began.
but what meaning does it have that it happened? You were sent to a foster home. That's horrible. But what meaning does it have? What do I now know for sure about you?
I'm very strong and survive a lot of shit.
No, that's true. But what meaning does it have? What can I
There is no meaning.
extrapolate? There is no meaning. None. And if you had said as a kid, I cannot wait to get out of this insane asylum. When I grow up, I'm going to create a normal, healthy, functional life with people who love and adore me. If you had given the same events that meaning, would you have had the feeling that you were worthless?
Nope.
And if you didn't then, would you today?
I would not.
Good. Take a deep breath. Say, I'm worthless.
I'm worthless.
Is that true?
It's not true.
And there's something you're holding on to. I don't know what it is, but I feel like there's like something that it's like hard for you to let go. I mean, you did it and that was extraordinary, but there's something you're holding on to. So anyway, again, I can't take you on it's in a course, but I would love to more than anything. Thank you, sweetheart.
Thank you.
Say, I am
Thanks.
worthy of love.
I am worthy of love.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for doing this with me. That
Thank
was
you.
worth giving up pickleball for. Thank you, honey.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Marion. Okay.
You are,
So
she is
Susan
beautiful.
Christini. Oh my gosh, what an
Yeah.
angel.
Yeah.
Just an earth angel. Wow.
Yeah.
Susan Christini had her hand raised and now I don't see her anymore. She
Oh,
was
Amber
here.
Lightfoot, that's who I want.
Amber and Fairborn. Oh, but there's Susan. So let's see
It's
how
so
our
funny when
time goes.
hundreds of texts are coming through, Deborah, and all of a sudden I see one. I always think like, oh, that's the person I'm supposed to work with, because I just
Well,
saw
we
that.
can work. Okay, in the interest of time, let's see, because some, Fairborn had also asked before Amber, and then I told her that we have to keep it to 2 people. So let's see how fast Susan's, work goes.
Hello.
You need to unmute him.
So, yes, that was amazing. And I want to thank Marion for being so brave. And I give up my time. I don't need it anymore. Thank you.
Wow.
Are you sure? Is that why you disappeared? And then you
Yeah,
reappeared.
I mean,
All right,
I get it. I get it. That what I saw, but that was the meaning I made up was in my mind. And I can let that go. So I get it.
Not
Thank
that
you.
you could let
Wow.
it go, that you never saw the belief. See, if you get you
Right.
never saw the belief, there's nothing to let go of. It's just like, it's like, I'm not gonna let go that Deborah has curly hair. It's just, oh, she doesn't. It's just not true, right?
Right.
Yeah, very good. Very, very
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you, Susan.
Thank you, Susan. Good to see you.
She's
Okay.
wonderful. You're wonderful, Susan. That's great.
Love her.
Yeah,
She is.
I
I
get
have
it.
so many angels in my group, let me tell you. And here's another one.
Again, Debbie,
Amber,
it's
angel of
not that you, wait, let me just address this. It's not that you realize you're embracing a false belief. You guys want to complicate stuff. Just get that you never saw your belief in the world. And all the other steps are loosening it to get you there. Okay, Amber Lightfoot.
who, by the way, has been a friend of mine for, I don't know, 30 years, maybe.
Oh, wow. Isn't that
From
wonderful?
Chicago, but she lives in Hawaii
Oh.
now.
What
No.
island? Oh, okay.
Aloha, I'm on Maui.
My daughter's in Oahu.
Beautiful there as well. Great to be here with you, Shelly.
Yes, what can we help you with, darling?
What started as life is hard. That's where I was starting because we were going with what was the thing and from our parents. And what happened is when someone brought up the sexual abuse, and I literally spiraled into incest and what all of that, brought about in my life. I want to say that I currently do have a brain injury. I took a terrible fall on Tuesday the 15th, finally went to the emergency room and got the diagnosis for what's going on. The fall injured my head as well. So I'm a little wonky today. But
So what can I help you with, sweetie? I'm sorry that happened, but
yeah, that it
what-
all spiraled. I started going for one thing and then it spiraled into something else that was very, but they are all connected because it has to do with issues of worthiness. So can I prove life is hard?
Good. So where did you first get the belief life is hard? Where did that come from?
Always hearing it from the parents. We can't
Got it.
afford this and blah,
Got
blah,
it.
blah. And
Perfect.
yeah, and you're gonna have to work hard and you're gonna have to do more and
Perfect.
that.
Perfect. So one interpretation is, I'm watching this video and I see your parents struggling and working hard and saying life is hard. And one interpretation is they're right. What's another interpretation? I love this is my favorite thing in the whole world when you say to people, one interpretation is your parents are right. Another interpretation is your parents were, and they look at you like, what? So, Amber, they could have been right. Well,
really-
let's stop. One interpretation is they were right. Another interpretation is they were
seeing it as their interpretation.
they were wrong.
Yeah.
So they thought life was hard. That doesn't mean it was. Is that a valid interpretation?
I'll say
What?
yes, but
Listen, if I'm watching Deborah, me, Marion, and Cynthia are all standing around, and we're watching your parents struggle and work hard and suffer and say life is hard. And you say, well, life is hard. And I look at this and I go, that's not what I see. Life was hard for your parents. Is that a valid, and would that explain the events?
yes,
Life is
depression
was hard
babies,
for-
etc. Yeah.
Because what?
Yes, absolutely. Their
Good,
programming,
perfect.
depression babies, etc. Yeah.
So they had, like my father was a depression baby. So one interpretation is, do people who lived through the depression believe life is hard? But people who didn't live through the depression maybe don't believe that. Is that a valid interpretation?
Yes, and discrimination.
I was just going to go there. Very good. So when you're Black whenever they were little, life was hard. Where did they grow up?
My father in Indiana and my mom in Chicago, Evanston.
Great. So one interpretation is, in those days when you were Black, life was hard. Today, you could be president of the United States. Please God, please God. So, I meant, I take that back, everybody. Barack Obama was president of the United States, right? He has an amazing life. So maybe being Black in those days meant life would be hard, but it doesn't mean it today. And maybe given their level of education, life was hard, or given their beliefs, life was hard. So if there are other valid interpretations, is what you said, life is hard, is that the truth or one valid interpretation?
One valid interpretation.
But doesn't it seem like you saw that?
Yes.
Did you ever see life is hard? Not your parents' life, not life as a kid, not life when you're Black. Life is hard. Does that have a color, shape, and location?
Yes and
Sweetheart,
no.
look at me. Look at me.
But
Not
I'll
yes
say
or
no.
no.
I'll say no. I'll say no.
Good. So what did you see? If I'm watching the video, what do I see?
The lens that I had been taught to see through.
No, you can't see a lens that you've been taught to see through. That's a
I
conversation.
saw that it's wrong.
No, you can't see wrong. You can't see
Well, I
right,
only have the
wrong,
choices of
good,
right and
bad.
wrong.
No, you can't see right and wrong. There are millions of people who feel one way about the election, and there are millions of people. I had a conversation with my girlfriend yesterday. You can't see, she thinks it's right, I think it's wrong. You can't see right and wrong. That's an assessment. But what you could see is your parents struggling. I could see your father say, you have to work hard in life. And today, you could put a program on the internet and sell it while you sleep. Life doesn't have to be hard.
From your mouth to God's ears.
But you got to get rid of this belief first. It's not my mouth to God's ears. You get rid of the belief, miracles happen. I swear to God. So where was life is hard if it wasn't out there to be seen?
In the minds of people.
No, I'm not interested in people, honey. I'm interested in you. Where was life is hard? If it wasn't out there to be seen, where was it?
I was seeing life is hard.
Awesome. You could see whose life. Let me ask you a question. If you lived with me, right? And life was easy. We had this process. We made a difference in people's lives. We loved what we did. We went on vacations. You know, we had friends over. We had fun. Do you think you'd have the belief life is hard?
No.
No, my kids don't have that belief. So my question to you is, did you see life is hard, or did you see your parents' life was hard?
I saw my parents' life was hard. We were actually called BAPs, Black American Princesses.
Got it. But where was life is hard?
In the collective conventional wisdom
No,
or somewhere,
sweetheart,
but
it's not in the collection of blah, 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 blah. That's nonsense. If you had listened to me, everybody listen, this is so good. This is worth staying for. If I was standing there with Deborah and we said to you, Amber, your life does not have to look like this. You could create the life of your dreams. And you said, oh, I see, my parents' life is hard, but your life isn't, and your life isn't. If you had given the same events different meaning, would you have had the feeling life is hard?
no.
No. So where was life is hard? If it wasn't out there to be seen, where was that? Sweetheart, look at me. You're a little girl. Stop. You're a little girl. What is the one word question little girls and little boys ask all day long?
Why?
Why? Why are mommy and daddy why are they struggling? Why does he keep saying life is hard? Oh, life is hard. I get it. Where did that conversation take place?
In my head, but I would bring it
That's
to
the only place it ever existed was in your head. You made that up, just like any other kid would, which is why I'm busy all day. Okay. But that was in here.
Yes.
And what does it mean that they had a hard life? What do I know for sure about your life or anybody else's life? Or what do I know about life because they struggled?
History repeats itself, that I'm destined
No,
to
you
struggle too,
don't
was
know
what I
that,
believed.
sweetheart. Stop. That's what you believe. And if you were in a session with me, I'd say, okay, now let's go to that belief. But it's a belief. History doesn't have to repeat itself.
Right.
Barack Obama became president of the United States. Doesn't get much better than that.
My cousin, Harold Washington, was the mayor of Chicago.
There you go. So I don't know if his life is hard or not hard, but the only and the fact that your parents struggled has no meaning. It doesn't tell us anything about life. So the fact that they struggle doesn't mean anything. And if you had said as a kid, you know what? I could grow up and be Michelle Obama. I could be anybody. I could be Oprah. I could be Stacey Abrams. I could be anybody I want to be. If you had given the same events that meaning, would you have ever have had that feeling that life is hard?
No. And Oprah was
No.
crashing my party in Chicago before I left. So yeah.
Okay, so take a deep breath. Say, life is hard.
Life is hard.
Oh, that was awesome. You're awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
Shelly, you are awesome is right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sweetheart.
That
so
was
fun.
massive. That was massive. Yeah. Yeah.
That
was so
Thank you.
fun.
My
Thank you,
heart
honey.
sings. My heart sings.
Oh, you're so beautiful. Your whole face changed. Your whole face is different. I swear to God. It's like awesome. Oh my God.
Love you,
Well,
honey.
I
That was just amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah, for facilitating this miraculous healing.
You are so
Really love
welcome.
it.
Thank you for being my friend.
Ah.
And I didn't know Harold Washington was your cousin.
I know, right?
That's so cool. I'm from Chicago.
Yeah.
Everyone has to know that.
Oh God, I love these comments. Somebody goes,
I'm
I'm
so
having a
blessed.
breakthrough.
I'm so
That's
blessed. Deborah was my very first mentor 40 years ago and
You were blessed.
started at the best.
Yeah.
And I just
she's-
adore her and all that she stands for. And I loved
too.
your work from many years ago too, Shelly, you and your husband.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, I've been a lone wolf for many years now, but it's great coming back to the world again.
And your brain is going to heal after this like magic. Like the doctors are going to go, what happened? I'm telling you, I
Thank
have
you.
such a feeling. Yeah.
Thank
All
you.
right, darling. Amber, I love you.
Mwah. So grateful.
Spotlight.
Deborah.
And
Thank
Shell,
you.
I think this is a great place to end.
Me too.
This was magical. Yes, we will send the replay out. I hope that everybody who can goes ahead and gets the Natural Confidence Program, recreateyourlife.com/Poneman, my last name. And then if you want to eliminate, because that's 17 different beliefs and fears, and anyway, it's an amazing program. And if you want to eliminate another belief for free, you could go to recreateyourlife.com/success. And if you, a lot of people were asking me if they could work with you personally. So I said to everybody, just write
That's
me.
Shelly at Lefkoe
Oh, that's
Institute.
Shelly. Oops. Okay.
You know what?
So
Go to lefkoeinstitute.com. Well, if you want to work with me, email me. Do that. Shelly, SHLLY at lefkoeinstitute.com. But nobody said thank you, Deborah, in this whole group.
Oh, well, that's because we didn't like it very much.
What a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful group of people. I feel your appreciation. And just know, my late husband used to say, what I love to do more than anything in the world is contribute. And if you didn't show up, I would have nobody to contribute to. So thank you for showing up and participating and being so freaking courageous. Oh my God. This group is just awesome, 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 awesome.
Well, thank you. And I do agree that this is an awesome group. And I also had some questions about the parenting course, but that would be to Rodney, right?
Yeah.
Questions about that? Yeah. Okay. I know we don't want to hang up because everybody's writing such nice things.
I know.
Deservedly so. This so rocked, Shell. I mean, beyond the beyond. So
Thanks,
I hope
honey.
that's this. Anyway, so
love
everybody have a
you.
wonderful rest of your day. We will send out a replay. Get your natural confidence course and anything else. And if you have any other questions for me, info@yestosuccess.com. And that's all she wrote.
And
Thank
you're
you,
also
Shelley.
smart for following Deborah because she's one of the few people that I say is the real deal. Real
Oh,
deal. Yeah,
thank you.
she's extraordinarily special. Thank you for having me, Deborah.
Thank you for saying yes.
I love you.
Love you, honey.
I love you all. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye,
For now.
everyone.